Hello and welcome or welcome back. Have you ever been intimidated by the word minimalism or minimize? Let me know in a comment. I definitely have, especially before I started my journey, but I realized it's just another word for simplify. And that seems so much more manageable and doable. And the whole point of simplifying is to make your life easier. Today, I really want to talk about ways that you can simplify or minimize your kitchen. And of course, let us know if you have anything to add to this discussion. I learned so much from you. Let's go ahead and hop right in. So whenever you buy spices that are in a kit or in a bulk, which is how I got mine, they come with all kinds of things that I have never used. They just don't fall in line with the way that I cook. And so it's really pointless, in my opinion, to keep these spices that I'm never going to use. I never make curry. So to keep curry powder makes no sense for me. And I'm not just gonna keep it just in case. I'm actually not gonna make recipes that call for curry because that's just more for me to think about and manage. Then I've got this extra spice. So go through your spices, see what you don't use on a regular, what's just been kind of shoved to the back, and then put your spices in a drawer. I've tried a couple different methods of organizing, and for me, it's easiest if I put them in a drawer. I can see them better. They're all laid out with the labels, and it's really perfect. So don't keep spices you don't need, and then only use recipes that call for spices that you already have. My next tip is for teas. These tea boxes can be really bulky. So what I like to do is take them out of the box and put them in a baggie. Sometimes your bags are labeled, these little tiny tea bags are labeled, but sometimes they're not. They come just like this. So what I like to do is cut off the front of the box and then put that in here so I know exactly what it is. So this just consolidates so much. It saves me tons and tons of room in my kitchen, especially if your kitchen is small. Then you might want to try this trick. At one point, I had an incredible amount of cookbooks. Funny enough, in many of the recipe books, I only used like one, maybe two recipes. So what I did is I went ahead and wrote those on recipe cards, like my gingerbread man recipe and my classic waffle recipe that I love. I wrote those down, put them in a box, and then only kept the books that I find myself pulling a lot of recipes from. So go ahead and check your recipe books. It's a lot of this stuff we end up just keeping because we're used to having it. I've shared this before, but because we're talking about a simplified kitchen, I have to mention it again. Having these hooks on the inside of the cupboard doors for my measuring cups and measuring spoons has been an incredible space saver. I love this idea because this is otherwise wasted space. So try and look at your kitchen in all the ways that you can possibly use it. You've got all the inside of your cupboards and your doors that can be used. You can hook things on there and just save space that way. So I highly recommend getting these little tiny hooks. They're so cheap. I think you can get them on Amazon or at Target, and then just storing whatever measuring cups and measuring spoons. And even if you want to, you can put a little hook for your hand mitts. I love keeping a few mason jars on hand. These are obviously great for smoothies and drinking water, but what I've noticed too is that I'll end up putting like leftover soup or chili in a mason jar and sticking it in the fridge. This is really nice because it's so multi-purpose. We even do little crafts with these. It's a perfect circle on the top. If you are doing crafts, you can trace it. It's just great. One thing though that I've noticed, and I only say this because I did this, I had so many. I had too many. So you can really get out of control with these and end up with way more than you need. But having a small collection of mason jars is incredibly helpful, and I just picked them up at the Goodwill for about $1 each, and they usually come with their lids there too. So keep a few mason jars on hand and start using them as food storage containers. You can also use them in your pantry to store like dried beans and cereals and things. If you have any other way that you love to use mason jars, let us know because I think they're amazing. When it comes to these little storage containers for your spatulas and spoons and all of that, your whisks, these I've noticed a lot of people tend to leave out on their counter. And although if that's the only space you have, then that is amazing. Use the space you have. But I have found that sticking this inside the pantry has actually been great just because this looks a little bit cluttered. I used to have a way bigger pantry, maybe 3 times the size that I have now. And I used to have these in the pantry, which have my flour and my sugar. And I had this in my pantry, and I just realized I don't have that space. So instead of sticking these back in the pantry, which is where I had them in my old house, I put them out on the counter and hid this. Now, the great thing about jars like this is that they're neutral, first of all. So they look really pretty. They're functional, but they also add an element of decor. Something that I saw that was absolutely amazing. I think her channel is At Home with Nikki. I will have to look, but I'll link it. She actually used these as her utility drawer or her, everything drawer where she would store scissors and batteries and stuff. She put all of those little things like batteries and scissors and rubber bands into separate baggies and then stored them inside here. What? That is genius. So you can really think outside the box with these beautiful storage containers. Display these, hide this if possible, and then try and think of ways that you can actually utilize these to maximize the space in your kitchen. Target sells these perfect little hooks for screwing underneath your cabinets if you need more storage space in your kitchen. And I liked to hang mugs here in my last house. It was just great because my kitchen there was pretty small, although I had a huge pantry. I had a small kitchen, and I was able to free up some cupboard space by using underneath the cupboards. So similar concept with the little hooks on the inside of the cabinet doors is using underneath the cupboards for hooks and things. So I love this hack, and it was a really great thing to do in my last kitchen, like I said, because it was really small. When it comes to simplifying in the kitchen, I really recommend only trying to shop once a week. This helps so much with an overflow and excess of food, and any excess whatsoever can lead to waste and obviously clutter, so you don't want that. I like to shop once a week. I do everything, all my shopping on an app, and it's so nice. I do grocery pickup. That way I'm not browsing through the aisles, seeing things that I want to try, things that aren't on my list. So try and just shop once a week if that's possible, and do a pickup order so that you're not, again, just in the store. So I love that tip. Another thing I like to do, completely unrelated, I guess, to grocery shopping, is streamlining your baskets in the pantry. This is so nice. I recently did a video on organization, and I talked about how, everything doesn't have to match. Everything does not have to be picture perfect or Pinterest worthy for it to be a really workable system. But when it comes to the pantry, for me, because this is in the main part of the house and I use it all the time, I actually do want the baskets to match. So I got these white bins at Target and labeled them, and that has been amazing. This is one of the only areas of my house where I have matching bins because, again, it's just an area that's so often used, and the pantry door gets left open sometimes and you could just see right in. So for me, I like to have that streamlined. So that's another thing I like to do, and I keep it white to keep it simple. These can also be used anywhere in the house. So if you decide you don't need a basket or two in your pantry anymore because you're cutting down on your grocery shopping and not bringing in so much inventory, you can now use these white baskets in the bathroom or to store kids' toys in the closet. So they're really handy. So I recommend getting something neutral that can go anywhere in your house. As far as what to declutter in your kitchen to simplify it and minimize it, I like to get rid of single-use items. This would be like a special tool for shaping your eggs. I have no idea what those are called, but do you know what I'm talking about? This is a single-use item, something that you would use to maybe shape your pancakes that you only use once a year. Single-use item. You might want to get this out of your kitchen. This is your main working space and your main living space, and it's just not necessary to bog yourself down. So try and get rid of single-use items, and then I use only one of pretty much everything. One spatula, one whisk, one pair of tongs. I just have one. And I'm not a professional chef. I just make mom meals. And in fact, I was thinking about doing a week of simplified dinners. And let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. Everything I make is really, really simple, kid-friendly. So I would love to do that for you if you'd be interested. But I just keep one, unless it's utensils, forks, spoons, knives. I keep 2 per person, as well as 2 plates, 2 cups, things like that. So that really makes it simple too. The only thing I keep extra of are mixing bowls. I've got to have a few of those because I love to bake and I'm always using bowls. They're great for servings. You know, I used to have these fancy salad bowls. They were wooden and beautiful, and I don't have that anymore because I serve my salads in my mixing bowls. That might seem crazy, but I am not. Again, I'm really not looking to overly impress anybody. I'm just trying to serve good food and have an easier time making it. So if you can't even get rid of salad bowls and start serving your salads in some of your beautiful ceramic mixing bowls, that is a great way to consolidate and cut things down. The less inventory you have to manage, the easier it's going to be for you to cook food, for you to find things, for your family to help you put things away, for your kids to cook in the kitchen if they're old enough. Just every single thing that you do in the kitchen becomes easier and faster when it is simplified, and that definitely includes reducing the inventory. I wanted to give you a quick peek inside where I keep my ceramics, just in case you were interested to see. And you'll notice everything's white, and I just do that again to keep things simple and streamlined, and they look beautiful together on the table. It's also nice because I can use them for every single holiday, and they will just always look beautiful. They're easily dressed up or down. As you see, I only have one pie dish, you know, one pitcher, one, what are those called? Vase, my brain today. And then I have a few. This is the only Tupperware I have. It's the glass. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's all I need because I use those mason jars. But then I do have several different bowls, different sizes, again, for mixing and salads and whatever I might need. So this is how I've simplified. This is it. This is it for servingware and mixing bowls. I've just whittled it down to one cupboard, and that has worked perfectly for me. Something that I like to keep pretty well stocked on are hand towels and dish rags. And it just is because of the phase of life that I'm in. I have 3 kids, one of them 3. We have a lot of spills, a lot of messes to clean up. And then I love these dish rags from Target because they're great for washing windows and dusting. So I love the size of these. They're just a little square, and they're perfect. They're so good. So this is what I like to use, and again, really thinking multi-purpose. I know some people use e-cloths, some people use microfiber, but for me, these work best because I can also use them in the kitchen as well as to clean with, and I make sure that I obviously wash them really well and bleach or whatever I need to do to get them nice and sanitized, but that's perfect. So really consider what your phase of life is, and don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, you know, in order for me to simplify my kitchen or minimize, I have to have this many dish towels or this many spoons. No, it's whatever works for your family. It's whatever works for your phase of life. So don't fall into that trap. Please do let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a week of simple dinners for your family. Thank you so much for being here. I would love it if you click subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch you soon. Bye.